Welcome back to another episode of Dish the Playbook. Today is a very special episode. It's just me today, unfortunately. Sorry to disappoint you guys. As some of you may know, I lost the NFL Pick'em where we picked winners of each game every week during the NFL regular season and into the postseason, and I chose the least winners and lost. So my forfeit is to record a solo episode. Could be worse, to be fair, so I can't really complain. But yeah, you guys are stuck with me. Sorry to disappoint you guys. Just me, my voice, and my face today. Enjoy, and if you don't like my face, then I don't know, click on to another video, I guess. But today, we're gonna get into some NBA teams. I kind of want to do like a little checkpoint. Obviously we're past the halfway point, we're past All-Star break, but I kind of want to assess every team's season thus far and say, hey, like, here's where we are post trade deadline, post All-Star break. Here's the expectations for either the rest of the season into the postseason, or for some teams, unfortunately, it'll be into the draft lottery and into the NBA draft and the offseason and all that. And we'll kind of do the same thing for the NFL, except it'll be a little different, obviously, as we head into free agency. NFL combines going on right now and NFL draft. So I kind of want to give all 32 NFL teams and all 30 NBA teams, a little attention here, and kind of talk through each of them. But before we get into that, like the video, subscribe, help us out. If you don't like the video, then it's bad luck for the rest of your week. So like the video. But yeah, before we get into that, kind of want to talk about myself for a little bit. I don't really like talking about myself, but it's just me, so I don't got anybody else to talk about. I'm spending this Saturday night right now. Not night, but it's like 7 p.m. So you're welcome for recording content for you on a Saturday night when I could be out doing other shit. It's 80 degrees outside. Gorgeous weather, and I'm out here recording a podcast episode. No place I'd rather be. Talking sports with just me, myself, and I. It's awkward talking into a camera by yourself. I don't know how people do this, especially if you're like doing cringe stuff. Like, I don't know, like people that post like dance videos and stuff. I don't know. I need other people around here, but whatever. I got to do it anyway. So, a little bit about me. Yeah, I guess I don't know. There's not too much that I could be doing. As some of you may know, I'm still recovering from ACL and meniscus. I tore my ACL and meniscus Thanksgiving week of 2025. Yeah, I know. Happy Thanksgiving. Holy shit. Super thankful for that. Got surgery January 6th. So it's been about a month and a half, almost 2 months post-op. Doing all right. I'm able to walk and drive now, so that's nice. I'm not on house arrest anymore. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a really interesting experience, this whole process. I definitely gained a whole lot of respect for athletes and just people that have gone through stuff like this. It really is hard. I'd say it's one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing that I've ever went through in my life. And it's not just about the physical pain and all that. It's just I'd say it's mostly mental, but I don't know. When you tear your ACL and you get surgery, you're in a lot of pain, obviously, but your whole routine, your daily routine kind of stops. And you have to get into this new routine, and you can't really do a lot. I can't drive, I can't go do shit. I can't spend my weekends the same or even my days. So it really does suck, and it's a huge change to the way that you've been living your life for so long. So that was, I'd say, one of the hardest parts. I had to do that for a couple weeks. Obviously, there's a lot of worse shit going on in the world than ACL surgery. So I don't mean to sound, I'm not trying to be like a bitch, but it definitely sucks, and it definitely is one of the worst things that I've been through. And obviously, there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of shit going on in the world. So you might think, oh, man, this kid's knee surgery, that's the worst he's ever been through. His life must be good. Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for the life that I've had, and I'm not trying to sound like ungrateful or anything. And yeah, obviously my life is obviously easier than, a lot of other people's in the world. There's a lot of fucked up shit going on, so I'm sorry if anyone takes offense to that. But yeah, it really does suck. It's been a hard thing in my life, and yeah, I mean, whenever you have to stop, and not that I had like this crazy routine or anything, but I had a way to go about my days, and that all pauses. Now I have to go to physical therapy and this other, sports medicine bullshit where they stick needles into my knee and do all this other, newer therapy stuff like red light therapy and shockwave therapy and all that shit. So I'm spending like 4 days out of 7 doing that shit, and then the other 3 I'm still spending like an hour, trying to rehabilitate by myself and get my knee strong. There's a lot of shit that happens when you tear your ACL. It's not just your knee. You lose the full range of motion in your leg. You can't bend it, so you have to get that back. Your quad essentially falls asleep, so you're paralyzed. So there's a lot of shit that goes on when stuff like that happens to your leg. So yeah, it's a whole process to get back to full strength. I'm nowhere close, but I'm definitely better than where I was, post-op. I can walk, like I said, now I can drive. So yeah, getting better. And yeah, it's just been a good experience. Shout out to all the athletes that go through this, and shout out to all the athletes that, rehab and then get injured again, have multiple major injuries throughout their career, still manage way to stay strong, put a smile on their face, and come to work every day. So, I really have a newfound respect. And I don't know, I feel like before, like, I'd be like, oh, like so-and-so tore their ACL. Oh, damn, like, that sucks. But you really don't know what it's like until it actually happens to you. It's so different from what you would expect. Like, if you were to ask me what ACL recovery looks like before this experience, I would have given you some bullshit, and because I just had no idea it was like this. It's different. But yeah, I don't know. My first time getting into the car, I was like cheesing and shit. It was like 2 weeks ago. I got into a car, started blasting Uzi, and I started driving. I just started fucking smiling to myself like an idiot. It was just, I don't know. It felt so good getting into a car again. It felt like I was, slowly getting back to normal. Yeah, that's where I'm at in my personal life. Trying to stay strong, and like I said, it's really all mental. Because it's easy to just be horrible when you're in a shit ton of pain. You're not sleeping well because you're in pain and you can't bend your knee, and you can't, if you want to go from one side of the bed to facing the other, you have to use every single piece of power in your body to flip yourself over. So you're not sleeping well. You can't do the shit that you like to do. I don't know, I'd say a lot of my extracurricular activities I like to do in my free time involve some sort of physical activity. Not all, but a lot of them. And most activities involve walking. So, yeah, like not being able to do that, it's easy to just be horrible to yourself and, I don't know, be pissed off, and I don't know, but you got to be strong and you got to fight it. And I think one of the most important things I learned is to just stay patient. And you just got to let the recovery happen. You got to take it slow, be patient, and all in all, I'll be fine. I'll be all right. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, if you're listening to this and you're going through something, I don't know. I believe that everything happens for a reason. So stay strong and you'll get through it. But yeah, let's get into. That's enough talk about me. We can get into some sports talk. We can start in, I don't know, what was going on today in sports or anything recently? I watched some NBA. There was Kansas-Arizona today. Arizona kind of beat their ass. Darren Peterson didn't shoot too well from the field. He scored a lot of points, but he wasn't shooting very well from the field. I don't know. My opinion on the NBA draft is there's a lot of firepower. There's the top 3 guys, and then you got a whole shit ton of point guards that are really good. You got Acuff, Flemings. You got the guy out of Alabama. I'm forgetting his name. Sorry, but he's also really good. There's so many good players in this draft. There's the big man out of Kentucky. Forgetting his name too. Sorry, I put myself on the spot. But there's so many good prospects. This is one of the best NBA draft classes I've seen. And especially with those top 3. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm not the biggest Kingston Flemings guy just because I like Acuff better, and I like the guy out of Alabama better. He has a weird name. Let me search up his name real quick. I'm forgetting. Sorry. What's his name? Because I need to know now. LeBaron Filan. Yeah. He's really good. Him and Acuff went at it in that Alabama-Arkansas game a couple of weeks ago. Double OT. Alabama won it. That was when Acuff went crazy. I think he had 40-something. He was shooting the hell out of the ball. But yeah, LeBaron Filan also had like 30-something. Yeah, so those two are really good. I kind of like them more than Kingston Flemings just because Flemings is kind of small. He's not the best shot creator. His middy's decent. His 3-point shot's nothing crazy. He can drive. Like I said, his middy's pretty damn good. He's a good playmaker. I think he has potential. I don't know. I'm not the biggest small guard fan, just because a lot of teams take advantage of that in the NBA now. So, I don't know. When I watch him, it's hard to say, like, I don't like. He's obviously a top 10 guy. He's talented. But I kind of like Acuff better, and I kind of like LeBaron Filan better. How tall is LeBaron Filan? 6'4". Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the NBA's kind of shifted towards the slightly taller point guard era. The small guard is no longer a thing just because, I don't know, a lot of times teams will take advantage of them defensively. Small guard, I can think of Jalen Brunson. And he's big. Like, he's not the greatest defender, again, so that proves my point. But he's big and he can kind of hold his own, and he's so great offensively that it's like, you can't really knock him. But again, the Trae Youngs of the world, players like that are, I don't know, I think their era is kind of ending where they're not as sought out for. But I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on the NBA draft. And Darren Peterson, I love Darren Peterson. I think he's very talented. But I could see an argument for why a team would take AJ or Cam Boozer over him. Again, they're taller players. They're different style players, so it's kind of hard to compare. But Darren Peterson is outstanding. I think he deserves to be the number 1 overall pick. But again, there's some drawbacks there. I think one of the things is he's a great shot maker and he's a great defender, but there's not a lot of playmaking in him. So that can be a knock. And I'm not, this is by no means am I saying, oh, this kid's not number 1 overall pick. I'm just saying I can see the argument for why you would take AJ DeBonsa or Cam Boozer over him. Like I said, those are 2 things that are very sought after in the NBA, 3-point shooting and defense. But again, with your number 1 overall pick, you might want slightly more. I don't know. He might not fit with certain players. So again, Darren Peterson should be the number 1 overall pick in my opinion, but there's some knocks on his game. And obviously he's missed a lot of time. He's not been able to play second halves. So I think the tournament will kind of be the tell-all in terms of who's going to go where. If Darren Peterson can be consistent and play in games and be available in the March Madness tournament, and this conversation may not be happening in July when we have the NBA draft. But AJ and Cam Boozer have been playing every minute of every game and have been dominant consistently throughout those games, and most of them, I should say. And we saw when Darren Peterson and AJ went head to head. Darren Peterson was the king of that matchup, but AJ has been dominant for most of the regular season and has played. We saw him play I think 48 minutes in the OT game. I forget against who, but he played really good, and him and Cam have been pretty dominant. So I could see your argument, and they do a little bit more. They have a little bit more with their frames. They have better frames. They're both huge. They're both strong. AJ is really long. So I don't know. I guess it'll depend on what you're looking for out of your first round pick. But I could see an argument for one of those 2 going higher, especially because we haven't seen Darren Peterson consistently play full games. His availability is kind of a question mark. And I'm not going to sit here and say he's not committed to the game of basketball because I don't know him as a person. It's not fair for me to say that. But there's some question marks there. I can't lie. But yeah, that's enough college basketball. I'm not going to talk about Indiana basketball because we fucking suck. It's a waste of time. I don't know. We have a lot of NIL, and I was excited about DeVries. It's his first season. I'm not gonna say he should get fired or anything. But there's some serious problems here. So I hope besides Lamar Wilkerson, no one's really has shown that they belong on this roster, to be honest. I wish Trent Sisley would play a little bit more. But I don't know. I haven't watched enough Indiana basketball to know it, to make super strong conclusions about the team. But we're very obviously not very good, and there has to be changes next season. So I don't know. I hope DeVries figures out, he's better with his rotations next year, and he obviously recruits a little bit better. And I don't know. We'll see what happens, but not very good. But I can't complain after the season that Indiana football just had. So we can't have everything. But yeah, let's get into, like I said, we're going to talk about all 30 NBA teams and all 30 NFL teams. And hopefully this hour goes by pretty fast. Hour minimum for the forfeit, by the way. It doesn't feel too much like a forfeit, though, to be honest. Just talking sports by myself. Anyways, I ate this thing called a Zeppelin. Sorry to sidebar here, but I ate this thing called a Zeppelin. It was like a salad in like a French baguette. I don't know, it was interesting, but yeah. If anyone cares. Never heard of it, by the way, but it was pretty solid. All right, let's go team by team, and we'll just, I don't know, I just looked at the fucking Kings, SAC, and I was like, ugh, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say about them. All right, Detroit. We'll start off with the 1 seed in the East. Wow, Detroit. Who would have thought? I mean, I don't know. They were really good last season, but the steps that Jalen Duren has taken he's a big reason why this team's the 1 seed. His steps defensively and both offensively. Stewart, we know he's a dog. He plays a lot of good defense. I think the team's missing shooting. Like everyone knows that the one thing the team needs is shooting. Duncan Robinson has been pretty good this season. They have Kevin Huerter. But again, is that enough? The one red flag with this team is their over-reliance on Cade offensively. Defensively, there's no question marks. They're top 5 in defensive rating. If not, Thunder 1. They should be 2, I believe. I'm not going to search it up, but I'm sure they're top 3. So they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. That's not going to be a problem in the playoffs. I'm not worried about that. The problem is, first of all, the team's a little young. They got their experience. They got their butt kicked by the Knicks last year, although a very competitive series, but they still lost. So I'm not going to say experience, but they're still young. But the big red flag for me is, again, over-reliance on Cade offensively and shooting. So I don't think, it's hard for me to just say they're not going to win a chip, but I could see them losing to, I'm not going to say New York because they've been dog shit recently. Not very good, and we'll get to them later, but yeah, jeez. I don't know what's going on with the Knicks. I could see the Cavs beating them. The Cavs have been really good post James Harden trade. I'm not going to say Darius Garland was not a good fit, but I think James Harden is obviously better and he's available. That finger could be a problem, fractured finger. Hopefully he's fine. Obviously he doesn't need surgery. The reports came out and said he doesn't need surgery, so hopefully he's fine. Yeah, we'll get to the Cavs after this. But again, I could see the Cavs or Boston, considering they'll get Jason Tatum back potentially soon. I could see those teams. I would take those 2 teams over the Pistons in a 7-game series. Obviously, I'm not going to say the Pistons have no chance. I think it would be a very good. Both of those series would be very good, very competitive. But I just think the over-reliance on Cade offensively is not good going into the postseason, and I think it's going to hurt them. And we've seen them have struggles come crunch time, especially when Cade's not having the best day. When they played against Spurs a couple days ago, shout out the Spurs, man. 10-game win streak, by the way. They've been hooping. Stephon Castle was low-key clamping Cade, and Cade shot the ball horribly, and down the stretch, their offense couldn't get it going. And the Spurs didn't really have their offense going either. I mean, and that's because Detroit's defense is just insane. So there's a floor to the Pistons, obviously, which is why they're the 1 seed, because their floor is being such a great defensive team. But yeah, down the stretch, they couldn't find offense, and the Spurs were able to win. So that's the Pistons are really good. They're in a great spot. But at some point, we'll see how the postseason goes. But hopefully, come the offseason and post that, you try to get someone, either a secondary shot maker or another shooter. And I was advocating for MPJ. He's getting paid a lot of money, and at some point, they're going to have to pay all the people that they need to pay. But MPJ would have been a great player for them to have this postseason. That would have been awesome. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I can't knock the Pistons though. They're having a phenomenal season. That's just, if I were to say one thing I'm worried about, that's what I'm worried about. But other than that, I got nothing to say about this team. They're fucking amazing. There's a reason why they're the 1 seed. Boston. Well, I thought this season was going to be shit for the Boston Celtics, but they've been able to figure out. Jaylen Brown's been playing at an MVP level. I've been super impressed with him. He should be top 5 in MVP consideration, and who knows if if Wemby, Shea, and Jokic don't meet the 65 game requirement, it'll be him versus Cade for MVP. So that would be crazy. But yeah, that was gonna be a shitter season. I thought they were gonna tank. I don't know. I wouldn't say I thought they were gonna be one of the bottom feeders, but I was thinking like play-in team, like maybe 5, 6 seed, and they've been hooping. No center, no problem. Baylor Shireman and Hugo Gonzalez have been good rotational players. They traded for Vooch, which is good. Cade has been decent. Obviously, those aren't two great centers, but clearly it's been enough for them to be the 2 seed. And if they get Tatum back, shit, bro, we might have some problems out east. I got nothing to knock about this team. They've been great this season. Obviously, them not having a center could be a problem postseason. That's also, I guess, a knock. But I don't know, there's not enough things for me to say like. There's not enough problems for me to be like, damn, this team's in a shit spot. Like, none of these top teams are going to be in a shit spot. So, I don't know. They're going to be a tough team to beat come postseason. They're totally a contender, and if they get Jason Tatum back, they're most definitely a contender. The Knicks. The Knicks, man. What's going on? They're 38-22, so the record doesn't say it all, but they've lost a lot of games to a lot of good teams recently. We saw them get dominated in MSG by Cade when he dropped 40 post All-Star break. Or was that pre All-Star break? I think that was post All-Star break, yeah. But yeah, they haven't been able to really compete with the really good teams. They've been underwhelming. I think it might be an end of an era, to be honest. And I'm not saying Jalen Brunson's gone, but I don't think the core of Jalen Brunson, OG, Mikal, and Cat is a title winning. At first I did, but I don't know, now you look at it. Was that Julius Randle trade a win for the Knicks? I don't know. Cat's been not as good as he was last year offensively. He's been inconsistent offensively, and we know he presents a lot of defensive problems. He's not the greatest defender. Mikal, inconsistent offensively and not the level of defender he was in his past. OG has been better offensively and defensively, in my opinion, than Mikal, but still not very consistent. And yeah, again, there's not a lot of pieces coming off the bench. I like the Jose Alvarado acquisition. He brings some juice and intensity off the bench. I don't know. I think this team's not going to win a title this year. I think they're, I don't know. Let's see. Who are they projected to play in the first round? The 6th seed. So Philly. Dude, I don't know. I might take Philly in that series. Philly, obviously, there's a lot of knocks in that team, but shit. Knicks have not been good, dude. They could lose that series, especially if Cat doesn't bring it offensively, and if Mikal and OG aren't able to get it going offensively, it's a problem. And like they haven't been able to get it going offensively, that's why they've been losing a lot of these games. I don't know. The core, the idea I see 3 years ago, I definitely did see it. I thought this team was going to be there, and win a championship, or I thought they were going to be contenders. And I mean, they definitely have been contenders, but they haven't been able to get across the finish line. And this year, it feels the vibes are a little bit lower. I know it's Mike Brown's first year, but it feels like they're struggling to find an identity. The players, too. I remember a report came out saying that the players didn't really know their roles. So, I don't know. I think there's uncertainty here, and I think they're going to have to make a move soon. Because I think it's kind of obvious that this core is not going to win a chip. On to the Cavs. Wow. I got a lot of good things to say about the Cavs. I think they have a really great chance of coming out the East, especially since they traded for James Harden. Obviously, they had a great season last year. They were the 1 seed, and they didn't come out with the same firepower this year. Jarrett Allen wasn't as good. Darius Garland was missing games with that toe, and they just weren't as good. Mobley was missing games. And even the few games that they were healthy, those players didn't look very good. So they traded for James Harden. They traded for Dennis Schroeder. They traded for Keon Ellis. That might be the best deadline any of the NBA teams have had. Great deadline for them, and they've been hooping. James Harden looking really good with Donovan Mitchell. They're both hurt right now, but they'll be fine. They'll be healthy come playoff time. That finger worries me a little bit of James Harden, like I mentioned before, but I don't know. Like, he doesn't need surgery. My only knock about this team is playoff James Harden. And I've not been a big fan of playoff James Harden. Whether he has not been known for his playoff He's been known for his playoff woes, is the least I could say about it. So that's my knock for the team. They've really built a solid group of guys around those two guys, though. They have Jalen Tyson, who's been really good this year, shooting the hell out of the ball. Sam Merrill shooting the hell out of the ball. Mobley, you have a DPOY level player. And Jarrett Allen didn't start the season as well, but post All-Star break has been insane. The month of February, he's going crazy. So, and Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder have brought a level of intensity off the bench that they've needed. So yeah, this team's gonna be tough to beat in the playoffs, and um, good looks for them, man. The Raptors. The Raptors, again, like the Celtics, I didn't expect this season. They've been really good defensively, which is the reason why they're the 4 seed. Sorry, 5 seed. Scotty's been great defensively. He was an all-star. B.I.'s been great offensively. He was an all-star. Obviously, they're paying Pirtle a lot of money, which I don't like. But whatever. Colin Murray Boyles out of South Carolina has been really good for them defensively. Who would have thought? I didn't know much about him pre-draft, but he's been really good for them. Quick, I don't really like Quick or RJ Barrett, but just because I don't think they're great next to next to BI and Scotty. I don't think it's the best floor spacing, and I don't know. I don't like them next to. I think they should get rid of them. Obviously, they're both on pretty big contracts, so that might be a little tough. But other than that, I don't know. This team's good. They're not a contender in my book, but they've been great defensively. They have a bright future. I like the core of Scotty and Bi, and they're gonna be a tough team to beat in the playoffs. Right now, they're gonna play the Cavs. It's not gonna be easy, to be honest. I mean, obviously, I think the Cavs are gonna come out that, but it's not gonna be easy by any means. Philly, wow. Tyrese Maxey's playing crazy. Joel Embiid, once he got healthy, and he's been pretty available this season. So I'm not going to knock him for his ability to stay healthy, but it's a big if. But if this team can stay healthy, they could make some noise in the postseason. VJ's been really good. They don't have any outstanding. I don't know why they got rid of Jared McCain. That was kind of confusing. He just came off a major injury. He was in Rookie of the Year consideration last year before he got hurt for the rest of the season. I don't really like that trade, but whatever. It already happened. And of course, the Thunder get him. But where was that? Yeah, the Sixers, it's a big if they can stay healthy. That PG, that's a big problem for them for now. But they'll be afloat. They'll be fine, and they'll get it back come playoff time. So I don't know if that team can stay healthy. They can make some noise. I got them beating the Knicks in the first round, obviously, and that's if the standings stay like this. So yeah, I don't know. It's up for the Knicks or for the Sixers, considering they can stay healthy. That PG contract sucks, but whatever. They already did it. The Magic. Yeah, the Magic. I don't know. It's a problem. I think Jamal Mosley's out of that job soon. I think at some point they're gonna have to make a decision to either keep Paolo or keep Franz. And Franz, I'm not the biggest Paolo guy. He's an inefficient scorer, not a great jump shot. He's been very inefficient. As of recently, he's been hooping. He had that crazy game versus the Lakers. He's been great recently. But again, Paolo's been inconsistent offensively, to say the least. And their defensive identity, they had a defensive identity the past couple seasons, and their defense hasn't been good this season. So I don't know. I think Jamal Mosley's out the door soon. And like I said, I don't think this team is going to make a lot of noise postseason, probably a first-round exit. And I think they're going to need to make a choice, either keep Franz or keep Paolo and move on. I thought the season would have been better considering they traded for Desmond Bane. And, Anthony Black has made a huge jump. Before the season, it was a question mark whether he was going to be part of the future, but I think he's a part of the future. Jalen Suggs has missed a lot of time, hasn't been as good defensively as he was when he made that all-defensive jump. And, yeah, I mean, the team has some good bright spots, but I don't know, when your 1A, 1B players aren't... Franz has missed so much time. He keeps getting hurt. I feel bad for him. But yeah, when your 1A and 1B players are both inconsistent offensively, Franz the jump shot. I don't know. I don't know what happened to it. Someone fucked with his form, and it just looks so weird now. Um, yeah, when your 1A, 1B players, your superstar players, your leaders aren't very consistent, I think you're gonna have to make a tough decision soon. So yeah, that's my opinion on the Magic. The Heat. It feels like we say this every year. Actually, not every year because they had Jimmy, but it feels like they're even when they did have Jimmy, I felt like they were always in the stage. But yeah, like I was gonna say, they're 1 star away. It feels like they've been 1 star away, even with Jimmy. I feel like they're always 1 star away from being really good. They're kind of like a how do I say this? They're kind of like a 5 star Bulls. Like they're always in the race. They always have. And I'm not gonna compare them to the Bulls because I don't think they have to rebuild, and they have much better pieces than the Bulls, but they're always in that little range, that play-in range. They've been in the play-in for a while now, past couple seasons. But I don't know. Okay, I feel that's kind of disrespectful compared to the Bulls, but yeah, it feels like they're one piece away. They're inconsistent. Tyler Hero's been hurt. He's been back. Norman Powell's been great. Andrew Wiggins has been pretty solid. Bam Adebayo is going to bring, get some good juice. But yeah, it's just not a good enough team on paper to. The Kalal Ware shit is weird though. I don't know what. Obviously, I'm not going to question Spo's decision making because he's the best coach in the league. But that shit's a little weird. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, the Heat aren't good enough on paper. They gotta, I don't know, either trade for a superstar and see after that, or I don't know, rebuild. They're not in a good spot. They're not in a title-winning spot by any means, or on the way to a title-winning spot. But they're a solid team. The Hornets. The Hornets have been one of my favorite teams this season, especially the way they've picked it up recently. I think they've won 14 out of their last 17, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out Con Knipple. I think he's the favorite for Rookie of the Year now after Cooper Flagg's missed a couple of games. He's been spectacular. I think he's been more than just a shooter. He's been solid defensively. He can do a little bit of rebounding. He can do a little bit of playmaking. He's not just a shooter. He has a solid midi. He drives to the cup. They beat my Blazers today. They beat shit out of us. Yeah, they just were the better team today. We sucked today offensively. Holy shit. But yeah, shout out the Hornets. Brandon Miller's having an outstanding season. LaMelo's inconsistent scoring wise, but he's still their superstar player, and I trust LaMelo to bring it when he needs to be there. And even if he's not there scoring wise, he'll always be a pretty solid playmaker. Musa's a great center. Is he the center for the future for the contending Hornets? No. But I think he's a good, solid piece that could come off the bench. He brings a lot of energy. His offensive rebounding is great. His defense is solid. He plays with a lot of energy, and I think that's a player they want to keep. But I don't think he's their starter of the future. And I don't think Cockbrenner is too, but Cockbrenner's been solid too. He plays with a lot of energy too. He rebounds the ball. So that team's in a great spot. I'm glad they didn't rush to make any crazy moves trade deadline, and I hope they don't do that in the future. Don't force a move that gets you a little bit better on paper. Make sure it's the right one. But yeah, I could see this team making a move next trade deadline. That could help them make a crazy jump. Obviously, they're not going to win the chip this year. They're not a contender, but they can make some noise in the playoffs. They're really good. They've in terms of net rating, they've been really good. I think they're like top 5 during their run in net rating. I could be wrong. Top 10 at least though. So yeah, they've been really good. I like that team a lot, and they just got Kobe White to bring some juice off the bench. Who else do they have off the bench? Trey Man, but he doesn't really play key rotation minutes. Why am I blanking? I'm blanking right now. But yeah, the Hornets are in a really good spot. I like them a lot, and they've done a great job rebuilding. I didn't expect this from out of them. Okay, on to the Hawks. I'm glad the Hawks traded Trae Young. Now you're building around Jalen Johnson. I love the Nickeil Alexander-Walker pickup. Dyson Daniels, it feels like everyone's always knocking him for his offensive inefficiencies. Can't shoot, can't really score the ball. And I agree. I think the era of just the defensive player is over. The Dyson Daniels of the world, the Andre Robersons of the world, players like that just play defense and don't bring a lot offensively. That era is coming to an end, and I think that's the problem with Dyson Daniels. He's getting paid a lot of money right now, so kind of sucks. But yeah, and yeah, they just need to keep rebuilding around Jalen Johnson and Nikhil. CJ's been, I don't really know. CJ's going to be gone soon. He's not part of their future, but I don't really have much to say about CJ. I don't know why they traded Vite Crazy. They traded for Jonathan Kuminga, which I like. Could be it's a high upside play, and they're not a great team by any means, so they're not going to be affected by it. And he just had a crazy game where he had like 29 points, I think, coming off the bench. So I like that move a lot, and yeah, the future is bright for them if they make the right moves. If they build around Jalen Johnson. Yeah, there's still a lot of moves to make. Anything else matter for that team? I don't have. Yeah, that's about it. Bright future though. I like the young pieces that they have, and I do like the role players that they have. I think they're in a decent spot, and they who knows, they could make some noise in the play-in. Who knows? They're right there at the 10th spot, tied with the Hornets in terms of record. The Bucks. Yeah, honestly, the past couple months, my opinion on the Bucks has changed. I would love to see them in the play-in because they have Giannis, so I can't hate on them. And obviously, we got catfish with the whole Giannis trade saga. It feels like every couple weeks, every couple seasons, the Giannis trade saga happens where he wants to trade and then he backs out. I don't know, some bullshit like that. I'm kind of sick of it. Just stay in Milwaukee or leave. And I guess he's staying. The Ousmane Deng trade has looked good for them. He's been very productive. I don't like KPJ or what's his face? Ryan Rollins is good, but Kuzma and KPJ not great pieces around Giannis. The Miles Turner acquisition is obviously, you drop Dame, and obviously you had to because you have to keep Giannis happy, and Dame was going to miss the whole season. You had to pay somebody. So I guess you had to waive Dame, but bringing in Miles Turner for all that money, I don't know. Clearly hasn't been the best move. It's kind of trapped them. But I like the Ousmane Deng move, and they've been decent post-trade deadline. And I think if Giannis comes back soon, I don't know. I want to see them in the playoffs, see what they can do. But yeah, we'll see if they can sneak into the play-in and make some noise. But yeah, I feel bad for Giannis, but hey, man, he decided to stay. The Bulls. Okay, I don't really like the Bulls. Shout out Kenny Beecham, by the way. Biggest Bulls fan I know. I'm a big fan of his work and his podcast and his content. But yeah, the Bulls just suck, man. It feels like they're a little late to the party in terms of rebuilding. They should have rebuilt years ago instead of doing the Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan project, the Vucevic project. Yeah, they should have rebuilt it a while ago, but I guess they liquidated some of their assets. They traded Io, they traded Kobe White, they traded Vooch. It feels like they're entering that era of a rebuild. But the Bulls have been known for liquidating their assets after their value decreases, and I feel like they've done that with a lot of players, but whatever. Hopefully, they started rebuilding now, so hopefully they continue on this path and they draft better, not Patrick Williams and Dalen Terry. Draft better. Modest has been good. And I don't like that Rob Dilling, you traded all these guards, trade for all these guards. You have Anthony Simons on the roster. You have Colin Sexton on the roster. You have all these guards on the roster, Trey Jones. Let Rob play a little bit. You know what I mean? Anthony Simons is not going to be there, and Colin Sexton's not going to be there, so let Rob play a little bit. I want to see more Rob Dillingham. Obviously, I'm not saying Rob Dillingham's a great player, but you might as well, see if it works. The Wizards. The Wizards are in a great spot. W Tank. They've done the rebuild right. They've got some great pieces, young pieces. Keyshawn George has been good. Trey Johnson has been really good. I like Bub Carrington. Bilal has been pretty shit offensively. He's had a couple of games recently, I think, where he's been solid offensively, but Bilal's decent. And Alex Sarr defensively has been amazing. So you have a pretty decent young core. You bring in Trae Young, Anthony Davis. The sky is high as hell for this team. The future is bright. That team could be good considering that they stay healthy, which is a big if. But I don't hate the moves, you know. Um, could they be forcing it? Maybe, but shit, you got Anthony Davis for decent value. You got Trae Young for decent value. I don't know, fuck it, and you could be in the race for a top three pick this year. So, man, forget if this team gets Darren Peterson, AJ DeMonster, Cam Boozer. That's fucking nasty. The Nets, some of these teams I'm not gonna have too much to say. Like the Nets, like what the fuck, like keep tanking, draft better, and trade MPJ soon. Indiana, it's just an offseason for them. No Tyrese. I like the Zoo trade. That pick protection's weird. You better hope it's not doesn't fall in between 5 and 10 or 5 and 11, whatever it was. I want Darren Peterson to go here. I think he'd be great. Yeah, I think they'd be nasty with Darren Peterson. And yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, Zubac could be scary next year. But yeah, keep tanking. Not much to say there. The Thunder had a pretty solid win against the Nuggets last night. They need to get healthy. J-Dub's been inconsistent offensively this year, and he's been in and out of the lineup. So that could be a problem come postseason. Shea's been hurt, but he's back now, and he looked pretty solid yesterday. He didn't play an OT, and they still won, but what was I saying? Yeah, Shea. I'm not worried about Shea come postseason. Jared McCain has been solid. Not a bad acquisition at all. But yeah, they need to get healthy, and I think J-Dub needs to be better offensively if this team wants to win another chip. Chet, we know what he brings defensively. He's been great, so if he can stay healthy as well. Yeah, this team didn't really have any injury bugs last season. They kind of got hit with it this year, but still the 1 seed. What can I say? Not much to say about the team. I just hope they stay healthy. But yeah, they have stronger competition, and that'll move me on to the San Antonio Spurs, who are currently the 2 seed. They're young. That's one knock, but man, we saw them beat the Thunder a couple times this season. I think 3 times this season. We saw them dominate the Pistons a couple days ago. Sorry if I keep looking down. I don't know why I'm looking down while I'm talking. I'm so fucking weird. But anyways, the Spurs have been good, man. They have a floor defensively with Stephon Castle and Victor Wembanyama. Offensively, you never know. I mean, Wemby was ass offensively versus the Pistons, but shit, bro, that motherfucker could take you with a step back. He could drop 20 points in a quarter, at any point in time. He could take over offensively. He's still a great offensive player, so there's that. Like I said, there's a floor defensively. I like their little 3-guard thing going on. Is De'Aaron Fox the point guard of the future? No. But is he really good, and is he gonna be the point guard for the next couple of seasons? Absolutely. And I love Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle has been great defensively. He's taken a bit of a jump offensively, and he's been a way better playmaker than he was last season. We saw him take playmaking jumps over the course of the season, but he's been great. Dylan Harper, man, I didn't think he'd be this good, especially in the short burn of minutes that he gets. Like, it's kind of hard to be as productive as he's been when coach just really puts you in for, like, I don't know, at random times, 15 minutes a game off the bench without any rhythm. It's kind of hard to get into rhythm like that, I feel like. But he's been great. Julian Champagne, he's shooting the ball well. Callum Johnson coming off the bench. So there's no knocks on this team. This team's scary. Their only knock is experience. So, yeah, Thunder got to watch out. The Rockets, the 3 seed. Their offense is a problem. We saw that right before All-Star break. They needed All-Star break really badly because they were ass. They were losing a lot of games pre-All-Star break at the tail end. Their offense is a bit of a problem because they can't find – they are in dire need of a point guard, and they're in dire need of someone that can create their own shot outside of Kevin Durant. But what I will say is they're still a really scary team come playoff time because they have Kevin Durant and because they're great defensively. But I'm also scared for them because that offensive production down the stretch is going to be a problem, especially when teams send 2 bodies at Kevin Durant and you pass the ball to Amen Thompson and the nearest defender is 20 feet from him under the rim and he still won't shoot the ball. And then he passes it to Jabari Smith, who's 0 for 9 from 3. And then he passes it to Tariq Eason, who's like all right from 3. So that's the problem. Reed Shepherd's been inconsistent. He's young. And he didn't have a great rookie year, and he wasn't great to start the season, but he's been better. He's shooting the ball well, and when he's on, he's on. And kind of feel bad for him because if he's not scoring, I feel like Ime just pulls him out, and it's kind of hard to get a rhythm like that over the course of the season when you're either in or you're out, and it's just super inconsistent. But I know he hit a game-winning shot yesterday. Who did they play? Who did they play? The Magic? They lost to the Heat today. I didn't watch that game, so I don't know what happened. Yeah, against the Magic. He had a great shot, great three-pointer. Down the stretch yesterday. But yeah, that's the problem. And that's the problem when your team's young, you're in the middle of a rebuild, and you trade for Kevin Durant. I'm not saying they shouldn't have traded for Kevin Durant, but now you rush the development of all these young players. Like, now Amen Thompson's ability to not make a jump shot is a problem. And he's like 21 years old. So now you rush the development of Reed Shepherd, Amen Thompson. And I don't know. Like, you don't want to do that with 21-year-old players. But, yeah, that's what happens when you trade for Kevin Durant. We'll see what happens come playoff time, but, yeah, that's a problem offensively. Denver, they got to get healthy, man. They're great. Jokic is great. He's going to win MVP or Shea, considering that they play 65 games. If they don't, whatever. What was I going to say? Yeah, they should need to get healthy. No AG. Their role players have taken a jump. Like, it feels like there's always somebody. Cam Johnson, who was a little inconsistent to start the year. But Christian Brown has been inconsistent to start the year. So those two guys who we expected to be the best role players on the team have not been great. But Aaron Gordon's been out. And then Peyton Watson, who's missing time right now, but he's been great this season. And Julian Strawther has stepped up. And so, I don't know. Like, Christian Brown and Cam Johnson being inconsistent to start the season have not been as big of a problem because of those other guys. Jonas Valanciunas is a decent player off the bench. He's an actual center now. They have actual backup center behind Jokic. So he brings some good energy. Jamal Murray is obviously taking a crazy jump. He was an all-star. So yeah, that's a contender. It's going to be, in my opinion, it's between them and the Spurs and the Thunder. I don't really see any other team competing with them. The Timberwolves. It feels like the Timberwolves have the same problem that they've had the whole season. Defensively, they're great, especially with Rudy anchoring it. Ant is awesome. I love Anthony Edwards. He's one of my favorite players in the league. But no point guard is a bit of a problem. I like the Io trade, but he's not the greatest playmaker. He's shooting the hell out the ball, which is great. It's always great to put shooters around Anthony Edwards. But again, offensive production outside of Anthony Edwards is a slight problem. Julius Randle is solid. And again, with Anthony Edwards, it feels like you always have a shot. They've been to the Western Conference Finals last 2 seasons, so I don't really have a knock on them. But what was I gonna say? Sorry. Yeah, I mean they need a point guard after the season, and I don't know, we'll see how the playoffs go. The Lakers. It feels like the LeBron, Luka, AR era is over. They're trash defensively. And those three guys are great offensively, but other than those three, there's really nobody there. I warned as a Blazer fan. I didn't warn anybody. I didn't warn the Lakers actually, but in my head, I warned the Lakers of DeAndre Ayton, because he's dog shit. He plays with no energy. He's ass defensively. He can't finish at the rim. He has horrible hands. What a horrible... I'm sorry, but I'm not the biggest DeAndre Ayton fan. And I know Lakers fans aren't right now. Yeah, that team just has nobody outside those three, and it feels like, I don't know, LeBron, go to the Cavs next year and fuck off and let the Lakers do their thing. Build around Luka Lakers. And I like J.J. Redick as head coach, but he really has nothing to work with. The Suns... Wow, the Suns have been great this season, man. I thought they were going to be dog shit, but the Dylan Brooks, as much as there is to hate about Dylan Brooks, he really improves the floor of some of these teams. Whether it's his defense, his intensity, obviously he's inconsistent offensively, but he really does improve the floor. We saw after the Grizzlies lost him, they were not good after they lost Dylan Brooks. When the Rockets lost him, now we're saying, damn, they could use a guy like Dylan Brooks. They lost that intensity. And now the Suns have him, and they've been outperforming all expectations. No Devin Booker right now, and no Dylan Brooks right now either. So they've probably lost a couple games, but they'll be all right. Are they a contender? No, but are they in a pretty decent spot? Yeah. I mean, they had some good pieces, and they could raise some hell in a playoff series. They're not going to win it, but they could be a tough beat, especially with Dylan Brooks and Devin Booker healthy. Jalen Green has been super inefficient. God damn, he's been shooting. And that's been his knock his whole career, but he's been super inefficient scoring wise. Shot, I don't know what he's shooting right now, but it has to be under like 30% from the field. Somewhere around there. He's been horrible. Colin Gillespie's taking a jump. Grayson Allen's doing his thing. They're a solid team. Not much to say. Keep building. And don't force a fucking superstar move, please. We've seen that that's not the move. The Warriors, Steph Curry era is coming to an end. Jimmy Butler getting injured really fucked them. Post Jimmy Butler trade last season, they were phenomenal. This season, Steph's missed time and AirPods sucks. I don't know. It feels like they don't have the right players around Steph Curry. And they've just not been great. And especially after Jimmy Butler's been hurt, it's just not looking good. I feel bad for Steph, man. But I don't know. That's the problem when you try to rebuild and try to contend at the same time. They're facing the repercussions of that right now. And now Kuminga's gone. Moses Moody's like, all right. Draymond is not as good as he used to be, obviously, and Steph's hurt. I don't know. What do you do if they're the Warriors? I don't know. Thank God I'm not a GM. That's why I don't get paid the big bucks to be a GM. Portland. Oh, my team. And if you didn't know that, yeah, they're my team. Don't ask me why. Because of Dame. I'll just say that. I don't know. We're really unhealthy right now. We've been unhealthy throughout the season. Someone's always missing time. Denny's hurt right now. Obviously, Dame's out. I'm not even talking about Dame. Drew missed. We were doing pretty solid at the beginning of the season. We're a great defense. We're beating teams. We're pretty solid to start the season. And then Drew got hurt, and it really went downhill after that. And now Denny's been hurt, hit with his back, and he's been in and out of the lineup. Klingen's been great. He's a great draft pick. He's inconsistent at times. I think he needs to lose some weight. But yeah, he's been. I'm glad we drafted Donovan Clingan, which makes me question Joe Cronin and say, why the fuck did you draft Yang Hansen at the 11th pick? That was just stupid. Why the fuck would you do that? We could have had Cedric Howard. That would have been much better. But whatever, it already happened. Seems scary, man, with Denny Avdia on that contract. And if we're fully healthy, bro, we can make noise, especially with Dame coming back next season. Denny on that contract. Jeremy Grant, I'm not a big fan of, and that's because he's getting paid so much. Get your money, man. Get your money up. Shout out Jeremy Grant, but yeah, I don't like that contract at all for us. Yeah, Blake Wesley missed a lot of time, and he can't really shoot the ball, but he provides some good energy off the bench. So yeah, we missed him a little bit. He's back now. What else? I like the Vit Krejci signing or trade. Sorry, he brings some much needed shooting to the team. That's our knock shooting. Defensively, I'm not worried about this team at all. Although we are inconsistent defensively sometimes. The Nuggets dropped a fuck ton of points on us recently. I think it was like 160 or something, 150, something like that. Tumani Kamara hasn't been as good defensively as he was last year, but I still love to. I don't know. We got to get healthy, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just wish our health wasn't as inconsistent so I can make a better conclusion about the team. But I really do think we're underrated because we have a great defense, and with Denny and with Drew healthy, our offense isn't bad. And sometimes it could be on. We have Matisse Thybulle coming off the bench, who's been better offensively, I should say. Not good, but better. So I don't know. I'm not saying the team's like a contender or anything, but they're a tough team to beat, man. I just wish we could stay healthy. The Clippers, they looked so good pre-James Harden trade, and they just traded him. I guess you didn't want to pay the man. I don't know what that was about. You traded Zoo. I don't know. What are they doing? Is Kawhi Leonard gone? I don't know. Some of those role players have been decent. What's his name? Has been solid. Kobe. Fuck. I don't know ball. Kobe Sanders. He's been solid. I like him a lot. He's long. He can play defense. Benedict Mathurin, who you pulled from the Zoo trade, has been solid. You got that first round pick. Who, if you're the Clippers, you hope is 5 through 10. Kawhi's Kawhi. Yeah, I don't know really what. Figure out what direction you're going in is what I would say. But yeah, there's some question marks with that team. Memphis. Shout out Memphis, man. I really respect them for not sticking to that core of Desmond Bane, JJJ, and Ja. We knew that they weren't going to win a ring. And you could have been the Bulls and just... I'm not going to... those three players are better than Zach LaVine and Vooch and DeRozan. But you could have been the Bulls and just kept thugging it out and making the play in every year. And stuck with that core just because, you'll still sell tickets and you'll still be decent and you'll still make the playoffs. Maybe. Make the play-in at least. But no, they decided that they weren't going to win anything and they liquidated their assets and now they're in a rebuild. And shout out them for doing that. I think they'll be in a great position in a couple of years considering that they draft well, and I'm sure they'll trade Ja Morant at some point this offseason. And yeah, shout out them for rebuilding. A lot of teams need to learn how to do that. Kings and Bulls. Dallas. Cooper Flag's great. Figure out what you're doing with Kyrie. And you better hope you get a good pick this offseason because I don't think they have their first round pick after that. So you better draft well and, yeah, figure it out. I'm glad I'm not a Mavs fan. Utah. Shout out Utah for making the JJJ move. Obviously it could be considered as a little bit of a rushing our rebuild, but they were last in defensive rating, man. And they got one of the best defensive players in the league, so shout out them. Keontae's been great this season. Obviously, they're fucking tanking like crazy. They got fined for not playing their players. Keep tanking. I don't know what to tell you. And fuck the NBA for trying to impose those rules to prevent tanking. I get it. It sucks as a fan to see your best players not play, and especially when you spend your hard-earned money to go to a game. But what I will say is, I don't know. You can't just remove tanking from the game, though. Maybe you could do some shit to make it less rampant, where Will Hardy isn't sitting Lauri Markkanen for the second half of a game that they're up 10 on and then losing by 20 in the second half. But you hurt the small market teams by not giving them the ability to rebuild because they're not going to sign a Kevin Durant. They're not going to sign a Steph Curry or players of that level. So the only way that you get good is by drafting them. So the way you build a good team is by tanking and accumulating draft capital, taking on large contracts for draft capital, and rebuilding through the draft. How the fuck can you do that if you can't tank? So I don't like that at all for teams like Utah and Portland and smaller market teams like that. But yeah, shout out Utah for tanking, and Keontae's been great. Yeah, Lauri's been great. They have JJJ now. Bryce Sensabaugh's been decent off the bench. Cody Williams has been better, but obviously is not been worth of a first round pick. So yeah, they've had a couple of not great first round picks. Taylor Hendricks, who they traded, I believe, in the JJJ trade. Isaiah Collier has been decent coming off the bench. Great playmaker, by the way. Assist man, holy shit! Yeah, he had the 2020 game, right? Yeah, I mean, they're in a good spot. Hopefully they get a top 3 pick. If they get a Darren Peterson, AJ Debonsa back to his hometown, who knows? They could look pretty decent next year. And hopefully Will Hardy can start trying to win games next year because he's a great head coach. We all know that. New Orleans Pelicans, yeah. Trade Zion. Just continue to rebuild. Build around Derek Queen, Jeremiah Fears. Keep rebuilding. Keep tanking. And get your star players through the draft. You fucked up by trading that unprotected pick to the Hawks. I get it. Derek Queen's good, but damn, that pick might be top 3, So, big fuck up there. I don't know what Joe Dumars is doing. The Kings, we ain't going to talk about the Kings. The Kings, they don't deserve any fucking talk time. Fuck the Kings. I don't really care. The Kings are kind of funny, actually. So, not fuck the Kings. Shout out y'all for being so dog shit that it's the laughing stock of the NBA. Should we still talk NFL? Fuck, that would take so long. No, we're not talking NFL. But if I were to go through all 32 NFL teams, that would take forever. I probably already bored the shit out of y'all. Half of y'all are probably not watching right now anyway. So, uh, I don't know why I say that. Like we have thousands of viewers. Get us there. Like the video. But yeah, I mean, we could have some NFL conversation. I don't know. The Raiders. Yeah, I was thinking about the Raiders recently. I love the Clint Kubiak signing. Obviously, the Pete Carroll shit didn't work. I'm not surprised. Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly didn't work in the NFL in 2026. Shout out them though. Great coaches historically. I really like the Clint Kubiak signing. You're probably gonna draft Fernando, unless shit goes wrong at pro day and I don't know his draft stock goes to shit. I don't know, but I'm assuming they're gonna draft Fernando number one. You would hope with a lot of cap space that they figure out to get at least some pieces to build around your rookie quarterback. Whether it's some O-lineman, because your O-line was dog shit last year. I know Clint Kubiak said he wants to do two running backs in the backfield. Oh, you have Ashton Genty, man. Whatever. I'm not going to question Clint Kubiak, but don't waste your draft capital on a running back unless it's super late round. Build around Fernando. Get him some better receivers. I don't know. Go sign Alec Pierce. Maybe draft Omar. And get him an offensive line, please. And obviously their defense isn't. They have Max Crosby. I think they still have Devin White. But yeah, defense isn't great either. So yeah, keep rebuilding, man, if you're the Raiders. But yeah, that's all. That's what I wanted to say about the Raiders. I don't really have much else. NFL-wise. I mean, I could sit here and go through every team, but I'd rather not. Anything else that I want to talk about? We're past the hour mark. Hope y'all enjoyed the solo episode. I'm sorry that it was just me today. But I'm low-key more fun than the rest of them, so could be worse. Don't tell them I said that. I don't know. Is there anything else to talk about? We can talk about my life, I guess, for a little bit. Yeah, I know I fucking yapped to y'all about my ACL injury. I don't even remember what I was saying at the beginning, but yeah, that was me talking about myself for a little bit, even though I don't really like to. What else? Oh, like I said, I've been getting back to driving and walking, so again, like I said, my routine's been fucked up, but I'm planning to start getting into it slowly. So what that means is I'm planning to start going back to the gym on Monday, which is like today's Saturday, so 2 days from now. I don't know when this is coming out, so I don't know. Whatever. I'm planning to go back to the gym soon, and I'm going to try going sober for 60 days. What I will say is that alcohol definitely fucks up your gains. But, I mean, you could drink, if you do it right, you could still drink, not aggressively drink every fucking weekend, but you could drink a little bit here and there and still be pretty shredded. But I want to try it, see what it does. I'm in no dire need to drink. It's not like there's a bunch of fun shit to do here anyway, here meaning Dallas. So I'm going to try going 60 days sober, see how it goes, see what it does for the gym. I feel like since I started working out a couple years ago, I've rarely gone a week without drinking, which I know sounds bad, but man, I don't know. I enjoyed college. Fuck off. But yeah, blame my alcoholic friends. I don't know what to tell you. So I want to see what it does to me. And I feel like there's so much misinformation out there when it comes to getting shredded. So it's kind of hard as a kid to know exactly what to do and to get shredded, unless you have fucking great genetics, which, I'd say I have pretty decent genetics. I'm not going to complain about my genetics, but some people have top tier, so they don't have to perform their best. But people that aren't like that, like me, you have to be pretty close to perfect to achieve, I don't know, like single digit body fat. In my opinion, I'm not a fucking like know-it-all. To be honest, I don't know a lot about the gym, but I try to know a little bit of what I'm doing. But yeah, I plan to get back in the gym, be sober for a little bit. I realize that I need to eat more carbs. I'll eat a little bit more on a daily basis. I realize just being in a crazy calorie deficit, no carbs, only protein, it's probably not the move. So I'm gonna do that. and we'll see. But yeah, that's me. What am I doing today? It's like it's like 8 p.m. on a Saturday right now. Yeah, I know. Make fun of me for not doing shit on it on a Saturday at 8 p.m. Probably go hang out with some friends. Maybe go out later tonight. Um, yeah, it feels good getting back to normal life. I don't know. I was fucking bedridden for so long, bored as shit. Um, I wish my knee would bend more. I'm at like 90 degrees, 80 degrees right now. But I can sleep better now. I slept for like 12 hours today. I'm not gonna lie. I slept from 12 to 12. I'm catching up on sleep from the last month that I've lost. It's kind of hard to sleep when you're in pain. And you can't fucking sleep on your stomach. Low-key, I was still sleeping on my stomach, but it didn't feel as good. So, I haven't been sleeping well. So, I slept for 12 hours. Yeah, make fun of me. I don't give a fuck. I like to sleep. Any travel plans? No, none. But stay tuned to our social media. There might be a couple surprises coming soon. What else? I'm really excited for the World Cup. Shout out USA Hockey, by the way, for winning gold for us, for the country. Jack Hughes, what a shot at the end. That was crazy. I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but it was cool to see that. I get pretty patriotic when it comes to some of those international sporting events. I don't know. They're fun to support your country in. So, yeah, I'm excited for the World Cup. I'm excited to see what USA men's soccer has to bring to the table. Didn't look good in the Copa America 2 years ago. Or it was like last summer. Summer before this past summer. World Cup. Well, I don't know. We're decent, but we got a coaching change. No more Berhalter. I don't know how to say the new guy's name. Pochettino, whatever the fuck his name is. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. I don't know too much about soccer, but I really do love watching soccer, to be honest. I don't watch too much club soccer, but really love international soccer. I try to keep up with club soccer. I don't know, it's just not my vibe. To where I'm watching like every fucking game. I watch Champions League game here and there. I watch Barcelona play. Yeah, I'm a bandwagon Barcelona fan, I guess you could say. I like Real Madrid. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a fan of those teams, but I like to watch them. I watch a Premier League here and there, Premier League game here and there if like there's like two good teams playing. But other than that, I'm more of a big international soccer guy. So super excited. We'll see how the U.S. does hosting it. There's a lot going on right now, so I don't know what that would look like in 6 months, but not even 6 months. We're like what? I don't know. I think it starts in August, July maybe. So yeah, I guess we're about 6 months. 5 months. So yeah, excited for that. I would go to a game, but they're way too expensive. What else? I don't know. No one's probably fucking watching right now, but I don't give a shit. I'm a yap because I feel like yapping, and I got nothing better to do, to be honest. But going back to work next week, I've been fucking working from home for the past month. Yeah, so when I tell you I've barely left my house, I have barely fucking left my house. Yeah, it's about it. I don't know. I hope you clicked off if you were bored by my podcast today, my solo podcast. But if you did enjoy it, like the video for us. If you didn't enjoy the video, I don't give a fuck. Like, I hope you clicked off to the million other YouTube videos. Yeah, that's tough if you didn't like it. Yeah, stay tuned for our episode on Wednesday. You're welcome for the extra content on a Saturday. I try to talk about a little bit of more than just. I know I spammed NBA talk for a minute, but I tried to give y'all some other shit at the beginning. I know we said we talk about more shit other than sports, like I don't know, our music. We listen to rap, by the way, so I don't know, like mostly rap. I would say I have a pretty diverse taste. I'll listen to a little country here and there, a little pop, but mostly rap. But yeah, we might do a little music talk. If any of y'all give a fuck. I don't know. We might just talk about random shit. I don't know. I'm going to challenge my co-host to bring some intriguing topics to the podcast if they want to talk sports. But yeah, more draft talk, more NBA playoff talk coming soon. Yeah, stay tuned for episode next Wednesday. Probably going to come out next Thursday. Like the video. And I could do a quiz. Actually, no, fuck that. Y'all could wait for the sports trivia. I'm gonna talk about random shit for now. Yeah, nothing. I would talk about travel plans, but I don't have any fucking travel plans. Yeah, I don't got shit else to talk about. I'm sorry, I tried, guys. Like the video. Hope you enjoyed the solo pod. I try my best, man. I don't know what to tell you. And stay tuned for our podcast on Thursday. And see you next time.